My name's Kevin Sampson. We're going to go ahead and kick off the meeting here. As soon as we need one more person to make a quorum for the group. So we're just going to wait, 10 minutes? I think it's pretty much 5 to 10 minutes. I think we have one more person who said she's going to make it here. So until she shows up, there's not a whole lot we can do at the moment. So we're going to hang out here for a few minutes and see if she shows up. So just talk amongst yourselves.
You would know.
In bigger,
is he the enabler?
I'm not sure. Who is the enabler of the microphones? Is it you or is it down there?
Well, so he has control over there, but he can also hit over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like when I push
For
button, it's like,
each
that's
person
you.
talking?
If you press the button, then it lets, I'm assuming his screen looks the same, it lets us know, like, who wants to talk, and then
We can hit it from the
Right.
screen.
That's what we were just.
Prevent people talking over each other in more fractious meetings and remote
Yeah,
ones.
you know, it's going to happen. You get that every once in a
It's
while.
like democracy though. It's okay. I think sometimes it's a little, the edge is alright.
As long as it doesn't result in, fisticuffs. Maybe arm wrestling. We can arm wrestle. I don't know. More minutes, we'll just start taking people off the street, put them up here.
I don't believe in the time that I've been here that we've never not had a quorum, but there have been one or two times where we've had to wait for minutes.
Pretty close, pretty close. I think there's probably one or two meetings in my time. Doesn't happen a whole lot. If we know we're not gonna have a quorum, then they just don't even.
Cancel it, yeah, postpone it.
So wait a minute, we should have 7, right? So Keely and Marcus, and then Ed was 1, 2, 3, 6. It was 7. Oh man, where's he? He hasn't been around for a while. Okay.
We have the numbers. Yes. Like, so, update it. So often,
Yeah.
like one later. And we were a little bit behind on it actually. And that worked a bit. Good. And, right out, policy. I think going to like, meetings with this is very difficult. I think the city can get some wants. And then hopefully ideally the city okay. It is I think when it gets but obviously
Some share response. We shot her a text, so we'll see.
that time. Are you on? No. I do. That's how I got it.
Coming up the elevator right now.
I guess I'll-
All right.
But for you. That's all I got on this. I'm actually running for Sheboygan County Board Supervisor as well on April 7th. So we would get
Hello,
the
hello.
7th, which is like downtown. and go south.
All right.
King Park.
Take a second, get situated.
North here, it's not, unless it's like directly on the site there, from our districts.
Hmm? Darn those responsibilities. All right, we'll just let Keely get settled in here. Ready to go?
For my lateness, I apologize.
Perfect. Better late than never, right? All right, so we can go ahead and get started here. So welcome to the March 18th Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. We'll go ahead and get things kicked off here. So if we can all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. All right, thank you very much. Item 3, we'll look to see if there's anybody on the panel here that has a conflict of interest or anything that they can see that might cause them to step aside for this one. All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and keep on moving. Item number 4, approval of should be the Zoning Board of Appeals, right? Okay, meeting from February 18th.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve. We have a motion to approve and a second. Do I have any discussion, anything? Nope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Say nay. Nope. Okay, hearing none. All right, so the minutes from February 18th passed. All right, so item number 5, we have a variance application by David Rapinski requesting to build an addition to his house encroaching on the rear and side yard setbacks located at 1314 Jefferson Avenue. All right, Mr. Rapinski? Yes, sir. Okay, so before we get started, we'll have you go up to the podium there, but before we get going, we have a request for the staff, so some staff comments first. We'll do that.
So there are a couple ordinances that we're looking at coming into play with this variance here. First, we have a rear line setback. Our rear line setback is 20 feet from the rear property line to the primary structure being the house. What is being requested is just over 3 feet, 3.1 foot setback from that rear property line. Another one of our ordinances that we're looking at is the aggregate side yard setback requirements. We have an aggregate side yard requirement of 15 feet. This one will only have an aggregate side yard setback of just over 6 feet, 6.1 feet. And finally, this is an existing legally non-conforming structure. So the structures that is currently there is allowed to remain there. However, we are not allowed to make structures more legally non-conforming, which would make this addition not allowed. Our building inspection staff also has some comments pertaining to this item.
Sure, we're open to those comments, please.
Okay, so in the variance report, I did put in just a small little verb, just letting you know that this addition was added to the house without the proper permitting. The assessor's office actually caught it. With that, there was actually no inspections completed on it. So we would be looking for a footing, a backfill, and a rough framing.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
When was that
Addition done.
well, we can do that.
The permit was issued for interior alterations. I believe it was in March of 2025,
Okay.
For interior.
for interior only. And the building permit application was for remodel, drywall, kitchen, bathroom, living room, bedroom, and I put the east porch because it was undecided at that time if redecking was being done to it.
So just to clarify, Lene, to make sure that the board understands correctly, Dave had taken out a permit for just some basic interior remodeling. Instead, unfortunately, an entire addition was added. Correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
And that's what we see here in the pictures, the two pictures that we got in the packet, right?
Correct.
Okay, so work's already started. The original permit that was pulled was not for the addition.
Correct. It was just for the interior alterations. When we have alteration permits and additions, they're handled two separate ways. Alterations are done by value, where anything over 150 square feet for an addition requires a certified survey. So this addition is approximately 200 square feet, so it would have required a certified survey, which would have been approved by our engineering department for drainage, and that was not done.
No survey. Okay. All right, well, I guess we'll go ahead and kick things off. Sir, we'll have you step up to the podium and kind of give us a rundown of everything we have going on here.
Yes.
I would think so.
May I
Sure.
walk up to the front?
Sure, yeah. What are you looking for? Well, this is the packet that we printed out, or that I got.
There's also had a letter from, I have two letters now from the
sure.
neighbors that are there of,
Yeah, there you go. So you were just looking for the letter from the neighbors?
I wanted to see what you guys had. I wanted to make sure that when I start talking, I don't know how in-depth, I know she got here a little late to go through this. I thought I had the right permits. I thought everything went a little easy when I was up there. But I guess when I was explaining stuff to Savannah, and then when Leanne walked up, if you look at that one picture, it shows a porch there with a deck on top. And that's about where we were in the conversation with Savannah. And then I just continued it. We had a preliminary plan, and I don't remember the whole thing of that, but I had that with me. I know I had it. I don't know if it was left here or not. That I can't remember. But I had a preliminary plan, and the other plan was going to be checked over, and they gave me the permit, and I was pretty happy about it. I thought, I just walked up, I told him what I was going to do, and I got my permit. And when I talked to Hanlon, he's the guy that drew up the plans, he said, normally you got to go through a little bit more. And I says, I don't know. He says, maybe they trust me. And because I've done a few things with the city, I've always tried to do them very well. I mean, above and beyond. And the only other thing I can remember is when the wall's up, make sure you call me. And the other thing that was said is that it'd probably take me a year to do it. And I thought the permit was good for a year, but I guess it's not. I know they used to be good for like 18 months, but I know that gets changed. But anyway, so I went on building, and it's still bare walls. It's a skeleton house. Pat came over and looked at it. I put all the clips up. I put all the hangers up. I put all the stuff up. I was to about a difficult part in it where I put a beam up, and I was going to get a hold of them anyway, so it worked out kind of well. And then that's where I am now. I did the backfill. on it, on the foundation, with the stone. I put the media against the concrete like you always do, you know, for drainage. I put all of the drain tile from end to end, from the alley all the way to the front of the yard, to the sidewalk, on both sides of the yard, and down on the foundation to a sump pump that pumps it out also. And that was another question I had with Pat, was on part of that drainage, if that has to go into a box or into, there was a French drain. I guess I'm not real familiar with that, but I've heard it before. And that's where I am now. I kind of been, for about a month now, kind of been on a, you know, just stalled, waiting. But the weather's been cold, so I guess, you know. But other than that, just been, you know, I was doing most of this myself. You know, and I had heavy stuff, I had a buddy helping, but other than that, just taking my time doing it, and I guess that's where I am.
Okay.
What is the reasoning for the addition?
How do you say this? The house has got to be around 100 years old, and it had termites in two corners of it pretty bad. And on this out addition, that if you see on the one picture, it shows the old porch and the deck above it, it was all termite eaten, and the foundation below it was pretty much crumbling away. So I figured I would just add another, we'll say 4 to 5 feet onto it, and come straight out from the house to make it aesthetically correct, and put an addition on it, put a kitchen above it. And the basement, we planned on making it a basement with an egress in it, in case we put a bedroom down there. My girlfriend has an autistic child, so that's been the thought there. And
Okay.
but it's, as you see it now, it's, as you see the picture that you have there, I mean, it's turned out beautiful. I've done everything beyond. It's 2x6 walls, not 2x4 walls. I mean, it would make anybody, I got 2 statements from people, neighbors in the neighborhood, and you got one that's there. He's very happy with what I've done. And then I just got another one from a person that's rented the place just to the west of me. He says, "Hi, Dave, just wanted to say the house next door is really coming along nicely. After seeing it neglected for the past 20 years, it's nice to finally see that someone cares. Best of luck on your project. Best regards, Adrian Christman." And anyway, the buildings that are there are old, but everybody's fixing them up nice. Across the street, straight south of me, they fixed them up very nice. To the west of me, they're working on them. And the one directly to the east of me, it's a really beautiful old house. It's got a lot of decorative stuff on the outside of it. This property is kind of a very restrictive property. There's not a lot of room there. In fact, I think the garage to the east of me is 3 feet on my property, and I think it's only about 15 or 16 feet wide. It's not a very wide, like I said, it's a very small property. So when you try to make something worth value of everything that's there, mainly to the south, you know, that's all the houses that are fixed up, I guess you make the house nicer because you can't do a whole lot with that yard. There's just not much there. And then what we're doing is real nice. And everything I've done there is as far as I know, and I haven't had a whole lot of time to go through it with Pat, but with the drainage and stuff like that, we've already got that from end to end, dug it out, put stone around it, put drain tile from, like I said, from the north end of the property to the south end of the property on both sides of the property. In fact, the neighbor was really happy about it. This spring, I'm going to add a little more topsoil to it, but we did it in the fall last year, so the grass didn't have a lot of chance to grow, but it did, it came out pretty good, but it's kind of muddy now. But as soon as it dries out, we're going to redo the topsoil on that and stuff, and I planted it all real nice for the neighbor on the west of me. He was happy, but like I said, we're going to probably add some more. His property's a little higher than mine, so it drains towards mine. With all this rain we had this last week or so, it got a little wet in the basement, but not bad. But it's not heated right now also, so that's it. Oh, absolutely not. I made sure that every one of them, in fact, I talked to everyone before I did anything that I did, and even in one part where we drove over the neighbor to the east of me, I talked to him before I did it, and I even gave him a couple bucks, you know, just for, you know, just because in case he had to do anything that I didn't see, but I stayed pretty much on top of it. I mean, there was days I was wore out and I finished it the next day or something like that, but everything is pretty good. I got a few things sitting in the backyard that got to get cleaned up that we've been doing through the winter, but like I said, with the cold weather and with this now, it's kind of stalled. So as soon as the snow gets off the ground, we'll get that up. But,
Your current girlfriend's son, does he currently live with you full-time?
yes,
He does.
yeah,
And your intention is to make a room for him in the basement?
correct.
Okay. And he needs that space just for safety reasons or, okay?
He's 16 years old. He's nonverbal, but if you would judge him, I guess you would say he's like a 5 to 7 year old. But those last couple of years, he's been really coming along well. I mean, we've been working hard with him. But he'll hurt himself. He never hurt a fly. He never hurt a fly, but he'd hurt himself.
Okay.
And sometimes he just wants to be private. He wants to be by himself. No noise, no nothing. So
The basement is a better location.
we
for him.
rejoist the floor so we can hang suspension chairs and stuff like that. And I figure if he's down there, you know, sometimes he paces a lot. He doesn't sleep 4 hours a night, that's it. And he'll be up all night, so kind of down there, it's away from us. Right now, we live in my place on, where I live on 9th and Indiana Avenue. It's a 3-story house. And he likes going up and down the steps. And I do live a pretty late life, but there's times I don't go to sleep till 4 in the morning.
Sure. Okay.
So,
Because currently you don't occupy this house, currently,
but I did personally myself, but no.
not with them.
No.
But once it's finished, you would
Yes.
occupy it as your residence.
Yes, it's a block away from Sheridan Park, so it's almost perfect.
Okay.
If staff could add a clarification, we definitely commend Dave for the interest that he's doing, and we commend him for wanting to do this efficiently and properly, but that's not why we are here today. Just to refocus, the true issue is the true issue today is to determine a hardship. So I just really want to focus the board's time on that, but
That's why I
also
was asking
commending
about
you,
the
sir.
sun. Yeah, that's
You
why
know.
I was asking about the sun,
Yeah, thank you.
because that can be somewhat considered that, so
Thank
that
you.
was why.
Yeah, thank you very much. As you can see, there's a space in the back, if you look at some of the pictures, where it's really close. It has been close to the property line there. I don't know how long, but it's probably pretty much of its, since it, well, I don't know, but it's pretty old.
Sure.
One of the reasons I was asking for some of the pictures, you can see some of it, where you can see how close it was to the property line originally.
Go ahead.
He's showing the distance or how close it used to be to the property line.
And the next picture I'm going to show is what it looked like before I tore it up.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So it's a lot the same as it was, only bigger now and much more aesthetic than what you just saw now. It's beautiful. Well, you do have a picture of the picture that's there, and it's much better. I mean, everybody in the property there, the neighbors, the owners, just like it. In fact, some of the neighbors in the next property the next block to the east, there's only a few houses there, have come up to me and said they just really like what I've done to that old house, because it was pretty dilapidated before, as you can see. So,
We certainly understand that, and I can clearly see that I don't think anybody would have any issues with that. But with that in mind, there are certain guidelines we have to
I get you.
operate within, and they're pretty rigid. So that's what we're gonna try to figure out here amongst the four of us here is, okay, aside from how nice it's looking, aside from everybody's opinion in the neighborhood of how it looks and what it's
Right.
going to do at the end, there's still at least three things here we have to take into consideration as to reasons why we're doing this and why we would grant this variance here for you. And now it makes it even more difficult because we've got something that's already in motion.
get you.
And typically, or most of the time, we would like to have this work started after you come in.
Totally understand, totally understand.
Kevin, I'd like to make a motion, but first I'd like to just offer a bit of explanation for it.
Please?
Okay. So I really appreciate all of the work that's been done on this, including the involvement of the neighbors and the various considerations. The execution does appear very good. So the motion that I'm going to make is not based on, whether this seems like, it would be an aesthetically pleasing thing for the neighborhood or that it would be good value for the home. I do recognize that. But the factors here at play, the existence of this addition having already been built and the other values that it would provide don't, in my view, override the three conditions that we have to meet in order to grant a variance. The setbacks in particular here are quite clear, and to go from 20 feet down to 3 feet and 15 feet down to 6 feet is quite restrictive. So I don't see a unique property hardship. So having nothing to do with the effort that's been put in, which has been very good, I would like to put forward a motion to deny the variance request.
Okay, so right now we have a motion to deny the variance request.
May I,
Everything sits.
may I add anything?
I'm sorry?
May I add anything?
Sure, yeah, we haven't voted on it yet.
I understand that you're within that 15 feet and within the other stuff where, if I remember right, I could, or a property could go within 5 feet of the property line. I think we're 5.5 or 6 feet from the property line. And the north end where it gets very narrow, I think it's between, we'll say around 4 feet. Part of that is already there, so I'm
Yes, so there are, it sounds like it is a legally non-conforming property. So essentially that a variance in effect has already been granted. Our guidelines state clearly that the existing legal nonconformity can continue, but it cannot be enlarged. So any existing nonconformity can be maintained, but it can't be expanded upon. So there being other portions of the house that are legally non-conforming as far as variance setbacks go, unfortunately don't permit a continued, or rather an expanded non-conformity in other parts. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
I understand. You are correct. You're correct in everything that you said. I'm hoping that I can change your mind, or that you think to change your mind a little bit, because
Well, I think I appreciate that, but I've been weighing this carefully, and personally, if I was one of your neighbors, I probably would not have any issue with it because it does appear to be very aesthetically pleasing. But we can't. The city code is clear on what's happening here, and when things are as clear cut as this, it's not within our power to amend that. And we need to see that there's a sufficient justification for it that would exist for any homeowner in any other circumstances, and I don't see that here. So you absolutely could personally convince me as a private citizen and as one of your neighbors, but as a member of the board, I'm afraid I have to say that my mind can't be changed on this one.
So, I also want to add a few things to maybe like next steps. So in the city, please step in if I say something that is incorrect. But we are currently in the process of sort of reworking our zoning code as a city. So the stuff that you are violating with these ordinances is kind of under reconsideration right now for changes. And we actually have a meeting